Hello everyone, my name is Shambhavi. So today we are going to make a Python project in which basically what we are just going to do, let me give you an idea. So the project which we are going to make is a project in which we'll be doing the billing for a restaurant. Okay, so we'll be making a menu that okay, this is the particular menu and these are the cost of these particular dishes or items which we have in our menu for the restaurant, and after that we are just going to make the bill, that basically what is the total amount of the packing which you are basically doing. Okay, so let's say a person comes and he says that I want 2 plate chili potatoes. So in that case our system would just we need to fill that. Okay, in chili potato corner we just need to fill 2. Okay, so at that will basically result as the final bill that okay, this is the bill for it 2 plates of chili potatoes, right? So this was the example which I had just given. We're just going to make something like this only today. Fine. So for now I'm just demonstrating how to make it for a restaurant, and then you can just convert into a stationery shop. Basically you can just take the like the items which you can add is the stationery items. Okay, let's say you just add pen, pencils, sketch pens and colors, chart papers and all that things, right? So that would be a stationery thing, right? In that you can just calculate the bill for a stationery shop. So like this only you can just take it for a grocery shop or anything like that. So you can just transform the whole project which we are making today. But what I am going to do is right now I'm just going to give you an idea that okay, this is basically how your restaurant billing is done and this is how your project is being made right now. Okay, so I'm just going to give you the whole idea so that if you're just gonna go and make any other project also, then you can just demonstrate and pick up all the things in that project. Fine, let's get started without wasting time. So firstly I would just let you know that I'm just going to make this thing on the Sublime Text Editor, and other than that I would be using a Tkinter library for making the project. Before that just let me connect to my internet for a while because like it just got disconnected. Fine. So now we will just start making the things right now. Okay, so firstly what I would be doing here is that I would be importing my Tkinter library. And before starting this, I would just give you one more suggestion, one last suggestion, that if you just like keeping your mobile phones and watching this video, then it will not give you that much benefit that like that you should get. It will give you benefit, but it will only give you 50%. What I would just suggest is that quickly open your laptop and start coding with me, right? So that you get the idea very properly and very clear, right? Next thing I would just add my library, which is Tkinter library, which we're just gonna make use today for making this bill. Yeah, bill something like that. Fine. So I would just write from Tkinter import. Okay, so I would just import asterisk. So basically you all just know that what does this asterisk means. So this means that whatever is there in the Tkinter library, I'm importing each and everything here, right? So whatever is present in that library, I am importing everything in this particular project which I am just making, right? Next what I would be just doing, I would be just making my window. Okay, so I would write here window is equal to tk. Okay, and I would put the brackets, and after this I would just give the dimensions for my window or whatever the dimensions I just want. So for that I would just write here as window dot geometry. Okay, I'm just gonna give the geometry that okay, this is the geometry which you should follow while making my Tkinter window. So let's say in my case I would just give it as let's say 800 into 700. Now this sign which you just see here, okay, this is not the multiplication sign. This one, just let me highlight that, this one. So this one is the X symbol. Okay, X character which we just have on the keyboard, right? So don't put that multiplication sign. Instead of that just put this X character. Fine. And I would just okay, I would just put the semicolon here. So fine, this is basically how we just like define our window, right? Now what next I am just here with, now I would be just making my menu option, like the options which I would be having, and I would be putting in my menu, right? And before that I would just do one thing here. I would just write window dot main loop. Okay, I just pressed on my cap, so just one second, right? So I would just write here as main loop. So this is basically where I just like close my program, right? So if I just run this much of program itself, so what it is going to give, it is going to give me a blank Tkinter window. Let me just quickly show you that. So I would just go to my place where I am just saving all of my folders, or sorry, all of my projects, and I would just do shift plus right click here. I just got open partial window here. I would just click on that thing. Fine. Just let me check that. Can I just zoom in? Yeah, I can zoom in here. Fine. So let me show you the command which I'm just writing here. So that is Python. First, I would just write here as item and my project name. So in my case, the project name which I am having is bill, okay, and I will just put my extension, that is .py, and I will just run my program. Fine, so you can just see Tkinter window is appearing here, right? So this is the Tkinter window. This is the size which we have given, 800 cross 700. Fine, so I would just like again open my Sublime Text Editor. Fine. Right, so this is basically how you can just make the geometry. Right, now next what I'm just gonna do, as I just told you that we are gonna give one menu option here. Fine, so I would just write here as, okay, sorry, I would just write here as menu option, and again this thing. Fine, come down, and now here I'm just gonna define, okay, just one second, just let me go close this thing. So here now I'm just going to define the items which I would be keeping in my menu, right, which I would be having here. So I would just go down and I would just make it a little bit smaller so that I can just write everything in one line itself, right. So here I would just start declaring that. So let's say I just made a variable that is label1. Okay, now label1 is one of my variables which I have just made right now, and here I would just write as label. Fine. Inside this I would just write as window. Fine, window is the variable in which what we have done, this one, in which I have just stored my Tkinter tk. Okay, this initialization of my basically the window which I'm just making, right. So label, then window. Here I would just put a comma. Now text is equal to, firstly what text I am planning to give here. Firstly I just want that on the top menu should be written, right, and under that menu different dishes should be written, right. So in that case, firstly I'm just gonna give that menu one. Okay, so text is equal to menu. Now here we have one more option, that is font. Okay, now what is this, basically what font you want. Let's say in my case, first I just want my Times New Roman, so in that case I just wrote Times. Next what I am having, what size you want. Okay, so size, let's say in my case I want 20. Now what you more want, bold or italic. So in my case I just want bold. So these things are the optional. Okay, this bold and italic, these are optional. If you just want to add, you can add. You are just not having any compulsion that you should add only, right. It's my wish that I want to add, so I am adding, right. And I would just go down. Now here what I would just go do, I would just write label1 dot, and now inside this place, now this is the main thing which is basically taking the main place in our program, right, giving the dimensions that basically where you just want to set your menu, right. Sorry, right. So in that case, let's say for me I just wanted to set it on 550 and y is equal to 70. Fine, let's say this is the place where I just want to set my label. Fine, I would just save this for a while and I will just go cancel it and I will just save it. And now if I just run it on my PowerShell, see here what I just got here. Now hold on, yeah, so here you can just see I just got you can say a written word, that is menu, right. So inside this beside this under this menu, now I am going to write all the dishes whatever I would be having in my restaurant. Fine, so this menu we have just got it right now. I would just minimize it. Fine, so that one is completed. Now turn comes for the writing the dishes. So for that I would just write here as label2. Fine, I would put is equal to and a label here, and I would just write here as window common. Now first dish which you just want to add here. Let's say in my case I would be adding, let's say first which I would be adding is paneer tikka. Fine, now just stop your mouth from watering, just pay attention towards the project a little bit. Fine, after that you can just go and have all these things. So the first dish which I just want to add here is paneer tikka. Fine, now I would just give some space here, right. In front of this what I want, I would just want that how much cost is it, right. So let's say I'm just giving it a cost as, let's say 150. Fine, let's say 1 plate paneer tikka is costing it rupees 150. Fine, so this is the cost for my paneer tikka. Now why I have given this much of space, so that there should some space we can just see between the dish and between the price. If you just want to reduce this space, you can. If you just want to increase this space, you can just do each and everything using the space bar and the backspace button in your keyboard, right. So let's say for me I just thought it is suitable, so I just did that thing. Fine, I would just put a comma here, and after this I would be just giving my font once. Okay, so font would be my Times, and other than that my text size would be 18, and even, yeah, I just wanted it into bold. Fine, so I just did that thing. Coming down, I would just write again. I would just write here as label 2, and I would just put place, and even I would just give it some x and y value. So let's say in my case now x value which I just wanted to give is 450, right? And the y value which I just wanted to give is, let's say, 120. Okay, I would just save it for a while. Okay, I would just save it for a while, and I would just open the PowerShell, and I am just gonna display it, right? So you can just see that here I just got my menu. Under that, under my menu, what I just got here, I got paneer tikka rupees 150. Fine. So this is basically how you just get that things and how you just print these things. Now under this only I'm just gonna add some more things. Now I'm just not going to show you again and again. So firstly we'll add all of these things. So what I can just do is that I can just increase the size a little bit, right? And that's a little bit smaller. So I can just do it to 20, fine. Now what I would be doing, I would be copying the line number 1 and the line these two lines, because for all of the dishes which we are just going to add, the everything would be same, right? So I would be just doing some changes in it only. I will just not write whole of these things right now. Okay, there's no need for making the video too long by writing again and again the things. Okay, so next which I'm just gonna add here is, let's say I would be adding as fried rice. Fine. And I would be just giving it a cost of, let's say the cost which I am just going to give is 120 per plate, fine. And the font is same. Yeah, font would be same. Now, what next comes is that I need to change the place. That is, I need to change the dimension at what dimension basically I just want to set it. So my x dimension would remain same, right? Because I just want in a single alignment all of these should appear. So x dimension is, sorry, yeah, the value for x would be remaining same. Only the thing is that y would be changing a little bit. So let's say I just do it here as 50, 150. Okay, I would again go down and I would again paste that same thing. And now I would be making this label 4. And now my text and the dish which I am gonna add here is, let's say I would be adding as chow mein. Fine. Yeah. Okay. And the cost for it, let's say it would be rupees, so 180 per plate. Yeah, that's too costly, I know. But let's say it is the same thing. And here I would just go back, and instead of this changing, I would just change the y value, and in this case I'm just going to put the y value as 180. Okay, now you can just say that in the x-axis I have just kept all of the values same, and in the y I have just taken a difference of 30. So basically I am adding 30 values in each of the numbers, and I'm just writing it in the next place, right? So for label 2 I have written y is equal to 120, right? For label 3 I have written y is equal to 150. So that is, in 120 I added 30, so it became 150 for me, right? Then moving towards the 180, and then moving next, and then moving next. So basically the y values go like this, right? You can just have an idea from this thing. I would just once more copy. I would just add 4 dishes there. Okay, so I would write here as label number 5, and instead of this paneer tikka, now I'm just gonna add, let's say, okay, I'm just gonna add as chili potato. Fine, and I would just, okay, let me just go down so that you can just see the things clearly. And what price I would be keeping? I would be keeping the price as, let's say, 200 per plate. Fine, and yeah. So font would be same. Now the thing which I just need to change is the place, right? So instead of 180, so add 180 plus 30. So what I'm just going to get here, I'm just going to get here as 210, right? So this is the dimension which I have just put it right now. And now I would just save this whole. Now I need to say that what more alignments I need to make. So for that I will be just running my program in the Power window shell, right? Now you can see that all of the 4 dishes which I have just written right now, they 4 have come in the proper alignment, right? Because I have taken my x-axis as same. And if I just want some more space between them, so what can I do? I can just increase the size for the y-axis, right? What we were taking? We were taking plus 30. So 120 plus 30. So instead of that plus 30, we can just make it to 40. We can just make it to 50. So that depends on the y-axis, how much space we want to just give between both of these values, right? So that is totally depending on the y-axis. And for the x, we have just kept the things very specific. So that is why it is coming in a single alignment, fine. Okay, now what we need to change is that we need to give some more space between this fried rice and chow mein prices, right? Because I need to make it to a proper alignment. Okay, so now I will be just doing the same thing. So I will be just taking 1 2 3 approx 4 spaces more. Okay, let's quickly, okay, let me just quickly close it, this one, and let's quickly try out some alignments properly here this side, and then we'll like proceed forward, right? So I need to do this thing for the fried rice. So I would be just doing, let's say 1 2 3 4. Okay, and for the this one also 1 2 3 4, and I would be taking the last one also one step forward, right? I would be now saving this, and after saving I would be running it for a while once more. So yeah, now you can just see that the things have properly, I just get that they are in alignment. A little bit of only one space is only left to give between the fried rice and the chow mein, right? As you can just see that a little bit of a space is only left. Let me quickly do that thing also. So here I would be giving one space, and for this one also I will be giving one space. And now I would be again be saving it, and now let's quickly run it. Okay, now all the rupees, all the cost of my dishes, whatever I am having, they all have come into the single same alignment, right? Now it's looking more better from previous, that basically the things have came here, right? So here is my menu ready, that what are the dishes which I would be having in the menu, whatever the like for my restaurant, right? This the first part that has been completed here. Now let's quickly move towards the second part for our program here. So let me just quickly write it here. Fine. 1 second, just let me arrange it in the proper way. Fine. Now what I would be doing, I would be giving my label number 6 here. Now what does my label number 6 would contain? Now my label number 6 would contain the name of my restaurant, whichever we'll be like adding or something like that. So we have prepared the menu, but before preparing the menu we should also have the name for a restaurant, right? So from which name we'll just call it. So for that I'm just gonna give one name. So in that case I would be needing label number 6. So I'm just taking the variables as label 1, label 2, so that afterwards I do not face any problem while like adding all of these things, right? So here I would be just writing label 6. Fine. I would be just putting equal to, and here I would just giving that label, and here now window, right? Window is the thing. Next what I am just going to add the text. Now inside this text what I am going to do is that I'm just going to give the name. Okay, let's say the name which I would be giving is somewhat like somewhat Chinese stall, okay, because the items and the dishes which I have added, they all are Chinese, right? So I would be adding the Chinese stall here. The name would be, for my restaurant, the name would be Chinese stall. Fine. What next I can have? I can just add my font and other parameters. So I would be just writing here as font is equal to, I would be writing font, I would keep as same, that is times. You can just use some different fonts also, but for me I would just keep it as same. Rest I would take the size as 30, and even I would be writing as bold. Fine. Next, now the name for my this restaurant, whatever I have just kept, that is Chinese stall, that I would be wanting in the middle of my window, right? So the tick in the window that is appearing, so in that case I would be wanting the name of my restaurant in the very middle. So according to that I'm just going to give some value, so that the name whichever I have written here, that should appear in the between of my like window, whatever that is appearing. Fine. Now if you are just taking all the geometries whatever I am taking, then it is fine. And if you just change the geometries and taking according to you, then you need to try some x and y values and set it into the middle. Fine. Or you can just use anchor is equal to center also. This is also one of the parameters that is being used, but right now I'm just not gonna use that. I'm just going to give only and only the values. Fine. So here I would be writing label 6 dot place, okay, and in the bracket I would be writing, let's say my x value would be 180 and my y value would be 20. Let's say this is the value which I have just given, okay, and I would just save it, and now I would just run it for a while, and let's check that basically what is happening. Okay, so this has basically come in the between, and yeah, this is the proper place where I just wanted it to come. Absolutely right. So I have just written everything in capital letters, so that is why it has came to me in capital. I have done the bold, so that is why it is in bold, and the size for it is 30. Okay, I just need to change the size, then I can just change the size also according to your wish, but right now I'm not just going to do that thing. Fine, that is completed. Now what I just mentioned in the starting, that the project which we are gonna make, in that now we have prepared our menu, we have prepared that what are the what will be the name for my restaurant. Now the next thing that comes is that basically now whatever the dishes I have just kept, so after that each and every dish, one a box should come in which that basically how many plates particularly you want this dish. Okay, let's say someone came and he said, I just want 2 plates chow mein, I want 1 plate chili potato and some other things like that. Now after that we need to just put some button or some box type in which we can just particularly write that how many plates that particular person wants, right? So for that now we are just gonna prepare that thing, right? Now just let me write here as label number 7, right? I would just write here label 7 and I would just write this capital label. Here I would just declare my window. Now what next I am going to give is that. Firstly, I would be writing the text, okay? Now, inside the text, what I would be writing? I would be writing select the items. Now, whatever the items you want, just select them, okay? Okay, just one second, yeah. So I would be firstly giving that text, select the items. Okay, so this would be a heading type which will be coming that select the items. I would put a comma, and here I would just write font is equal to, here I would just give it as times. Okay, times, and then 20, the size should be 20, and even that should be in bold. Fine. So this is the one, and now here I just need to give the that dimension, that at what particular place you want this thing to appear, right? So I would just write here dot place, and in the bracket I'm just going to write as x is equal to 80, fine, and even I would just write as y is equal to 90. Now this is the place basically where I just want my this label, that is select the item, should appear. Fine, I would just save it for a while and I would just run it once. So this is my PowerShell and I would just run it. Fine. So here you can just see that select the items. This this statement has came here. That is whatever the dimensions I have given, it had came in that particular place, right? So this is the select the items. Now under the select the items is like heading. I am just gonna list all of these things, and besides that, and or you can say just under that, I'm just gonna give a box in which you need to write that how many particular plates you want, right? So I would just close it for a while. And yeah, let's move forward while writing the codes, right? I hope you are getting the things very clearly, and you are even making the project with me, right? Okay, I would give it as the name as label 8, okay, and I would just write here as label. Then I would just write here as window. What would be my text? My text would be my first dish, that is I need to put the semicolons. My first dish was what was that? Yeah, that was paneer tikka, right? So my first dish. Next, what I would be putting, I would be putting a comma, and then font. Which font you want? I want the font that is Times. What is the size? Size should be 18. Now here I just don't want the bold thing. Okay, so I'm just not writing bold. Now at what position basically you want? So I would just write here as label 8. Output dot place, and in the bracket I am gonna put the values. Let's say for me x is equal to 20, right? X value should be 20 and the value for y should be 140, right? So this is the value which I just want to hear, so I would just save it for a while and I would just run it once again. Yeah, so you can just see that under the select the items option, this paneer tikka, my first dish which I am having in my menu, that is came here. Now under this paneer tikka dish, I just want one box to appear. In that I can just type the integer values and I can just give it a integer value, that basically how much I want. Okay, so I would just close it for a while and now I'm just gonna make that button, right? So I would be just making that button for this only this label number 8, and after that I would just copying the things because the procedure is automatic, all same. Okay, you need not to do any changes here. Okay, so now I just made one new variable, that is even. Now I would using the function, that is entry, that is basically used to enter any integer value in that box which I'm just telling you, right? Say entry, and here I would be writing as window. Okay. Now I would be just giving it a position that basically at what place I just want it, right? So I just wrote even dot place, and here I just want it at x is equal to 20, but the y value should be changing, right? So I would be adding the y value as 180, right? And now I would again be saving it for a while, and I would just run it once again. Fine. So now you can just see that a box has been appeared under this Panitika, and even I can just enter any integer numbers or anything here, right? Any characters, any integer number or something like that. So you can just see a white color box has been appeared here, right? So now I will be doing the same thing for the rest of the three dishes also, which we are having, right? So I would just like minimize this thing. I would just now what I would do, I would just copy these four lines, okay? I would just go down and paste it here. Now the thing is that I would only be changing the variable name. I would make it to 9 for this one also, and my text would be fried rice. So my second option was fried rice, right? So okay, I would be writing here fried, and here I would be writing as rice. Font would be same, only the place would change. So x would be, I just want, yeah, x would be same for me. Okay, no, x would not be same because I just want it into the horizontal line. Fine. So in place of this 20, what x I would be just adding, I would be adding, let's say my x would be 250. Okay, and the value for y would be same because I want in the same alignment, right? And for E1 I would just make it to E2. For this also I would make it to E2, and here I would be just writing as 250, and my y value will change to 180. So 180, right? So what is the difference in my E1 and E2? In my E1 and E2 the difference is only for the x values. My y values are having the same value. Let me just quickly save it for a while and let's quickly run it. Fine, so you can just see that here paneer tikka is present, and in front of this paneer tikka I have fried rice. So under this also we have one box, and we can just write anything here, any number, any like character, whatever you want. Fine. So this was the idea about making this thing. Now we'll be doing the same thing for the left two, that one are for the we had added paneer tikka fried rice. Now what's is left here? Basically chow mein and chili potato. We're just doing the same thing. So I would just do enter. I would just paste the things here. I would just do one more time enter. Fine. So label 8 is done. I guess 9 is also done. Just let me quickly. Yeah. So I would be making as label number 10. Fine. So for this also I would be making it as label number. Okay. Label number 10. Fine. So my text would be here. I would just change my text and I would change this to Chowmein. Fine. MEIN. My font would be same. The values for my x and y would be changing. So the value for x would be 20 itself, but for y my value will be something what 220. Fine. And I would be making it change in the E1 also. I would be making it to E3, and this one also as E3. And for this my x value will remain 20 and my y value will somewhat go to 250. Okay, 250. And now I would be doing the same thing for the last one, that is one is for my chili potato, and I would be just giving it a label as 11. Okay, I just wrote 3 times 11. Fine. And here also I would be giving at 11. My text in place of this would be somewhat chili potato. Okay, so potato, this one. And I would be just giving the places. Now the time comes for giving the dimension. So instead of this my 20, I would change the dimension to 250, and for y I would be giving the dimensions as 215, right? I would be changing this E1 to E4, so this one also be E4, and my place for E4 would be 250, and the value for y would also be 250, right? So 250. Fine. I would be just saving it right here. And now I will just open my PowerShell and run it. Okay, so now you can just see that all the things are in proper alignment. So under all the 4 items I have these boxes, right? So you can just see that under paneer tikka, under fried rice, under chow mein, under the chili potato, I have these boxes, and you can just write anything in these boxes. So what I have just told, we will be just writing that how many plates particularly you want for these items, right? Now let's quickly close it. Now the last thing which comes to in our basically in the project which we need to do is that we need to do the billing, right? We need to just calculate the total, that what is the total amount which you would be getting. Fine. So for that, firstly, what I would be doing, I would be making a bill button, fine. So when I would just click that button, then my final bill will come out for me that, okay, this is the total cost which you need to pay. Fine. So for that, firstly, I would be making a bill button. Quickly do that. So I would be taking a variable that is, let's say, B2, and I would be using the function that is button, fine. Here I would just write here as window, comma, what would be my text? My text would be what I just mentioned is bill. Okay, so I just want to check that what is the total cost for the, like, for the items which a person has taken, right? So my text would be bill. I would be just adding the font, right? So I would be writing font is equal to, I would give it as times, space I would give it as 20, and yeah, I would just make it to bold, right? This one I would just make it to bold. What would be the width for my button which we are making, right? So what will be the width for that? So width, let's say, would be 20, fine. And what would be the command? My command would be calculate. So calculate will be a function which you will be making above side. Okay, so right now I've just given it command here, that this would be command, and going above where we had just declared the like name for our restaurant, at that place only we'll be making a calculate function, and in that we'll be just doing the things, right? So before that, just let me write b2 dot place. Okay, b2 dot place, and in the bracket I would be writing x is equal to 100. I would be just giving the positions. Okay, and let's say for y I'm just gonna give us 350, fine. This is basically the build thing which I have just made right now. I would just save it for a while, and let's quickly run it. And is my PowerShell, and I would just run it. Okay, so here I just got some error. Let's quickly check that what's the thing. Okay, so it is saying that calculate is not defined. Okay, fine. So I just need to define that function. So just let me quickly do that. Let me go above here this side, and under this window geometry, yeah. So here I would just write def, and here I would just write calculate. Fine, I would just put the bracket. I would put this, and here I would just write as print, and I would put the code so that I just do not get any error while running this program. So I would just again save it, and now okay, I just closed my PowerShell. I just need to open that. So shift this right click, open PowerShell window here. I would just zoom in, and I just, yeah, this one is zoom in, fine, and I would just do enter, fine. So here you can just see one my bill option also came here. Now if I just enter that one under this money tikka, I just enter that one. Under fried rice 2, let's say under chow mein I just enter 4, and under chili potato I just enter 1. Now when I'm just clicking on bill, nothing is happening. So what should happen? My final bill, whatever the total amount is like done for all of these items, that should be come here, right? Now we are just going to define that thing under the calculate function. So my bill button is already made. The last thing which I just need to do in my project is that I need to just quickly define the calculate. I just need to write the things here, fine. I will just run it, close it, and I will just give some space so that I can just make it too clear, fine. I would just do here and enter, fine. So here firstly what I would just do, I would write all the names whichever I am having, all the dishes. Okay, paneer and underscore I would just write here as tikka is equal to, and now even dot get, right? So even was the basically variable in which we were storing that basically how much plates or how much amount you want. Okay, so this is the thing which we are just doing here, right? So I would just do the same thing for all of the items which we are having. So I would just write fried underscore rice. Fried rice is equal to e2 dot get. So here I'm just naming it in a that way only that we have just taken. Okay. Third one is my Xiaomi, WMEIN. I would just do e3 dot get. Okay. And in the bracket, and the last which I am having here is my chili potato. So I would just write chili underscore potato is equal to e4 dot get, fine. So here I have just taken all of my get functions. Now what is my next thing? And next thing is that I need to add all of these. So I would make a variable that is total. I would put total is equal to, here I would just write, firstly I would just write here as int. Okay, now in after this int, firstly what I would just write, I would just take the first name that is paneer tikka, right? And I will multiply it by whatever is the cost for paneer tikka. So the cost for paneer tikka was 150, right? Now I am multiplying it with 150. After coming out of this bracket, I would put the plus sign, and again I would do the same thing for all of my items whatever I was having. So again I would just write integer. Second item was fried rice. Okay, And what was the cost for fried rice? The cost for fried rice is 120. So 120. I would again put, okay, it's showing 1200, fine. So I would just put again the plus sign. Now here I would just again put the bracket, so integer. And inside this, firstly I would be just writing as the name, so that is Chowmein, and here I will be putting a multiplication sign. So the rate for it was 180, right? Again I would just put a plus sign, and my last item was, I would put firstly integer because I would just wanted all of the values, the total bill I just wanted in the integer, right? So that is why I'm just writing integer before each and every of the words, so that if it is in string, so basically it has been converted into the integer type, okay? Otherwise it will not give me the addition for all of the values, right? That is why I'm just adding integer like before each and every dish or item whatever I'm having. So int. Now I would just write it as the name, that is fried rice. No, fried rice was over, right? Now, what was my last left? That was chili potato, right? Yeah, so chili potato, and here I would just put a multiplication sign, and I would just multiply it with 200. Fine. What next I am just left with? I would just take it to here, and yeah, I just thought that it's all complete. Fine. So here I would be just giving some label, okay? LABEL, label number 12. I will be just giving the font size and the font and the size for the total bill that should appear, right? So I would just write label 12 is equal to, I would just write here as window. Sorry, firstly I would just write here as label. So label in bracket I would be just writing as window. I would put comma, and the text is equal to, what is my text? My text is total, fine. That total variable, whatever the value will be stored in the total variable, that I just wanted here as the text, fine. That is done. I would put a font size font that I just want it in 2 times, and the size would be 25. I would just not put as bold or something here, and let's say I just put that. I would do that. I would just write here as bold, fine. I would just go down, and here I would just again write label 12, and at what position do I just need to place it? Just let me go back for a while. Right, I would just put place, and the dimensions which I'm just gonna give here is x is equal to, let's say, 200, and let's say y is equal to 440, right? So this is where I just completed my whole project. So now I would just like save it for a while, and we will just run it finally, that what's the thing which we are getting. Yes, I would just do Control plus S. I would go to my PowerShell window. Okay, so what has been happened here? Okay, I don't know. Just let me zoom in. Fine. I would just let me show you the things right here. Okay, I would just write. Okay, hold on for a second. Just let me close it. I would just again reopen my PowerShell window here. So Shift plus right click, open PowerShell window. I would just zoom in, and yeah, enter. Fine. So this is my whole final project, which we're just gonna see the demonstration of this. So firstly, it is giving me the name, that okay, this is the name for your restaurant or stall, whatever you're having. So that is Chinese stall. These are the menu. Basically, these are the dishes whichever you contain, and the rates are written in front of that. Other than that, we have just like billing system, that what bill you, or like whatever the items or dishes you just choose. We are just gonna give the bill for that. Let's say I just want 1 plate paneer tikka, then 2 plate fried rice. I just want, let's say, 1 plate chow mein, and I want 3 plate chili potato, fine. When I would just click on bill, see what it is giving. It is giving me the total bill whatever I am getting. So that is 1170, right? So this is the total bill which you are getting here. Let's quickly rerun it for a while. Let's quickly go and change some dishes, some things here. So let's say I just want two each everything, okay? Again, I would just put on the bill. Now it has just given me that the your bill that basically has come here, that is 1300, right? So this is basically, I just gave you an idea that how you can just make a restaurant billing system. Now you can just add many more features in this, right? You can just add many more things, but this was an idea that basically this is the procedure which you can just follow. Now except this, you can just add different images here. You can just add some more good features, that whatever, let's say some discount options or something like that, that if you're gonna choose this much thing, then you are gonna get this much discount, or the things like that. That's totally depend on you, that how much you can just enhance this project. Right, here I have just made it for the restaurant. You can just make it for a grocery shop, you can just make it for a stationery shop. Whatever the shops you just want, you can just make it for that thing, right? So this whole idea I just gave you, I just tried to explain you that how you can just make these types of projects on your own also, right? I hope you just got the whole idea that basically how we have just made this project, right? And even I just hope that you have made the project with me. And if you have just seen the things very carefully, then I don't think so that you're just gonna get any error or any queries or any problem at the last, right? So I hope you have just made the project, and if you have not made it right now with me, then just quickly go and make this project for yourself also, right? So this is all for this video. Till then, thank you and bye bye.